well. There we are. Sure I don't hear myself being blasted by myself. Okay, I'm gonna go grab a console. I just have my box here off to the side. Try and find an American one. Gotta make room for it. Goodness gracious. Make sure I remember where I put this. So I purchased a test lot of consoles. Ooh, okay. The only thing I know about them is, well, whatever notes the previous technician left on these consoles. The seller of these consoles didn't necessarily do the best job trying to explain what was wrong with everything, so all I have to go off of is this. So for this blue, this is a DSi XL hinge, which I can tell you right now, there's... Oh, that'll do it. Volume rocker. Now, I mean... It feels a little weird. I will give it that. Is it just like installed incorrectly or something? This console has had water damage. At least the sticker, the remnants of the water damage indicator sticker. And then obviously the rear shell is just completely and utterly destroyed. That's a good break right there. Charge port seems fine. I can't click in the shoulder button. I'm guessing the shell is just going to be pushing down on it. Yeah, I'll need to get a better environment for that piece. Any goodies? Oh, darn. Well, I mean... guess I'll put a battery in it and see what it does. That's about all I can think of. I mean, other than that, it looks really good. Inside, both of the screens look really nice. Wow, even powers on, both screens work. I'm gonna have to be very careful with this hinge. Harlequin. And there's a card game on there. How hilarious. Mojang. Mojang again. Oh my goodness. I'm really a fan of the board games. Okay, I'm not exactly too comfortable doing any sort of rigorous testing on a console that is injured. So let me grab a shell piece. I'll just grab one from my cleaning pile here. Where's that burgundy one I took apart that had... Yeah, I'll use this one. This was the burgundy console I just recently took apart. I'm just going to use this upper shell piece as just a stabilizer for all the parts. Just so I'm not... because some of my tests can be a little rough. And if that hinge isn't holding that shell together very firmly, I don't want it damaging the ribbon cable for the top screen. So I'm just going to immediately go in and take this thing mostly apart and then replace it with this for now, and then I can start testing. Based on kind of the marks around here, it almost looks like it took a drop and it just completely shattered it. That's a pretty clean break. But this is one of those, or this is the shell piece that is most prone to being destroyed. The water damage indicator sticker being tripped is a little concerning, but so far this console isn't really giving me any reason to be worried aside from the hinge and whatever's going on with the volume button I'll have to look at. Let me put these screw covers away. Okay. I'll move this aside for now. I'm not going to be putting any screws away. I'll just be putting these back in. I am going on the assumption that nobody's taken this apart before. I was fairly wrong, I think, with the last console I worked on. Okay, it looks alright in here. I don't know, the volume buttons look okay. I wonder if it was... maybe had something to do with the shell being broken. It maybe just distributed weight around the bottom shell a little strangely, possibly warped it a little. I'm just kind of guessing, but that might explain why it felt weird when it was in the shell, but now it feels just fine. Yeah, I can't really detect anything that's like, Let's get all this off. Yeah, I'm gonna have to disconnect everything to get it through that hinge piece. And that's everything. Yes, yes. Okay. I mean, it does look like there are hints that there has been water damage. I mean, it's like some gunk down here on the bottom of the power board. Looks like it's just very little, though, so... I mean, even the membranes for the buttons look okay. Just gonna immediately put all these back in. I'll do the start buttons a little deep in there. Or power button in this case. I just noticed a lot of the tops of these screws are a little tarnished. They're missing their coating. They're not rusted yet, but I've seen better screws. A little bit of rust on the bottom screen. How bad? Oh, not bad at all. That may not even be rust. That might just be something. Yeah, it's wiping off. Good. I do need to get the top shell piece apart. Just get all that out first. I'll even try out to see if the hinge mechanism is okay. It might actually be fine. It's just the shell is compromised, so it's not engaging the mechanism. It's kind of a bit of a shame, because this console is actually in pretty good shape otherwise. But all the king's horses and all the king's men just couldn't put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Beautiful. Those came off nicely. Get these covers put away so I don't fling them everywhere or they stick to the back of my hand and then I end up losing them. Probably count to make sure that's actually all 4 of them. Yes, it is. And I knew there were a couple consoles in the slot that had bad hinges. Usually when the hinge piece breaks like this, well, usually it's a lot worse than this. The top screen ribbon cable usually doesn't survive. In this case, it's the console's still together, it's just there's just no mechanism engaging it or holding the screen up, so if you tried to open it, it would just lay flat. I'm gonna be kind of careful. I mean, I'll still push it in. I was trying to keep this top shell assembly all together, because I'm just going to be dropping this immediately back into that burgundy shell. Jiggle it apart. I need to see where this hinge ring goes. Oh, look at that. Stuck to the top screen. Perfect. I usually pull out all these wires for the microphone and the Wi-Fi antenna, but it'll be fine. I'll just make it a little more complicated. When I go to actually pull this out. There we go. So yeah, this shell piece is completely cracked on both sides. Wow. I didn't even know it was cracked in the front. I think it's just completely compromised. Oh. That's all it took. Well, to the junk pile you go. Now for my donor. Let's get it back all installed. I'm going to get this little valley cleaned real quick. Just brush out all the loose crap that was in there. It may feel a bit sticky, but as long as the mechanism engages and I can't detect any problems with the other components, then I'm not going to worry about it. There we go. Usually don't feed these through. Until later. Or, I guess it's depending on how I feel. Alright, let's see if I can get this hinge mechanism in. I should probably inspect it real quick before I do anything too grand. Like, I should make sure it's actually engaged in the right direction, because it could have been half engaged before it broke. And they're pretty good. There it goes. Let me compare it to one I have over here. Okay, it's fine. It's a little gummed up with, almost looks like corrosion. Let me take a quick aside. Almost should be dumping vinegar in here, actually. But this will work just fine. I wonder how likely it is that the mechanism bound up, and in the attempt to open the console, it snapped the shell. I don't think I've ever actually seen that before. Not to say I find that unlikely, but I'll know pretty quickly if something's wrong. It feels fine. It's a little hard to tell when it's taken apart like this. You don't have all the weight distributed. Let me get it back together. Fully back together, screws and all. Not exactly partial to Frankenstein consoles, so the burgundy on blue is not my favorite. Get the microphone and Wi-Fi antenna routed. Why are you being difficult? There we go. B button. A button. X. Y. Start select. Power. Okay. Microphone. Don't necessarily need to hook the Wi-Fi card to the antenna, but I will do it anyway, just for completeness. Make it look like nobody's been in here. Power board. Alright, just get the camera connected and we're almost done. Ugh, burgundy on blue. Ugh. I'm gonna need to find a battery door. I mean, might as well just stick with the burgundy color scheme. Ugh. Still has a little bit of tape on from the foot. Get a good battery in it. And battery door. All that work, and I don't even know if the thing really works yet. This left button is having a bit of problems. I think it's getting pinched in the shell. So that will happen. From what I've noticed, when there's damage on the corner of the shell, it actually will like deform the plastic up. You can sort of encourage it back down with a little bit of pressure. But I don't know if that's this thing's only problem. It looks like it is. Just need a little more encouragement. Maybe some metal encouragement might be needed. Because if this was the corner that took an impact, then it's not too surprising that this side of the shell is having some problems. Let's just see what I can do from out here. Loosen it just a little. So that shell does need work. I loosened up the screw and now it does click. Catches a little bit every single time. That shell piece just probably needs to be filed down a little right at that corner. I'm not going to look into that too closely right now. More interested in the actual buttons themselves. Alright, so now I'm going to get my area a little more organized. I'll keep that there. So what I'll do with this console is take it through my test protocol that I use for consoles that I actually put together, refurbish, and prepare for sale. I'm not going to be as thorough, but I will be going over all of these components down here, which are just pass and fail. So the first test I do, actually I wanted to check the hinge. I mean, it definitely has like a thunk to it when I open it. But it is working. It's holding the screen up. It's nice and smooth. It sounds a little different, but I mean, it operates as I would expect. So the first test I'm going to do is for the power board and motherboard. Uh-oh, I didn't get the top screen in all the way. Or I destroyed the top screen. Or maybe the top screen just finally gave up. I'm gonna hope I just didn't plug it in all the way. I thought I did. Nothing like taking the entire thing back apart after putting it all back together. I mean, I can look at the corner of this shell to see if I can address the shoulder button issue. I might have to take out the shoulder button to kind of... well, I will, but I'll look at it. So it's the left one. Is there anything I can do from out here? I guess we'll see. I don't need to remove the power board this time, but I will need to remove the motherboard. I'll just have to disconnect it. I'm just going to take the bottom screen with it. That's not very comforting. This bottom screen's in all the way. Just unplug them both. I thought I did spot that. So there's just a little bit of corrosion on the pins. I thought I spotted that. I just thought maybe it was just trick of the light. That might be all that it is. Thankfully, it's not enough to actually eat away those pins. But I should probably double check under a microscope. Oh, this thing is not active at the moment. Oh, because I disconnected it slightly. Okay, I'll do it. There goes. Ooh, nice and shiny. So yeah, when I bend it up at an angle, you can still kind of see some of that corrosion is still there. But it looks like it's not eating away any of the pins, which is very good. Spend a couple more passes trying to clean it off. Okay. Now get it together enough to test, just to make sure that's all that was needed. And I didn't tear the ribbon cable, because that would be most unfortunate. But I mean, it would be unfortunate, but it would kind of line up with the hinge being broken. Just too much fatigue on the top screen ribbon cable. Or I screwed up somewhere. That's always possible. Just get that cable routed. Kinda. This Wi-Fi antenna cable is being a pain. Just get it enough to put it in. Alright. Do a quick test. Hooray. Just a little bit of corrosion on that top screen ribbon cable. Now let's get it together for testing. Ooh. I need to check this out here in a second. I'm looking at the underside of the camera ribbon cable. It is not looking good. Where the hell did that screw go? Screw. Oh, there it is. Ooh, yikes. Okay, let me look. Let me scope these. Spin it around. So that is not good. That is not good at all. I hope that's just gunk and not the actual contacts just completely and utterly gone. I mean, right now I'm not very confident that anything is even under those. Oh, you know what? That one at least looked good. What about this one? Well, I'll be a son of a bitch. That actually might be fine. It's just usually when I see black like that, it's just eaten straight through the trace. And it still might be. I'm not gonna say anything too crazy right now. Yeah, a little gunky is one way to put it. Okay, some of it's coming off. I'm not very confident about that pin. Doesn't look very good. What gives you PTSD? Just ribbon cables in general? I can't really blame you. Ribbon cables are kind of an amazing technology that saves a lot of space, but man, do they create a lot of problems. I don't even know what any of this stuff is. It might be like old soda and dirt or something. It's not really sticky. And it doesn't look like it was corrosive of any type. All the pins are still here and they all look like they're in good shape. And yes, they can be surprisingly brittle. I know this all too well with these consoles. GPU... The fans are controlled by a ribbon cable. I thought they were basically just controlled by wire. Just a 3-wire connector. I don't remember the term for it, like PCM or something. Oh, this ribbon cable might be okay. Usually when I see connectors like this that are just loaded with gunk, yeah, these just trace contacts are just gone. I just need to see if I can scrape away a little of whatever that black stuff is. Ooh, even thinner. How exciting. Because, I mean, the thinnest cable on these motherboards are the backlight ribbon cable connector for the screen, which is just this little feller, and the digitizer connector, just these little 4-pin, really tiny ribbon cables. Well, let's see what we got here. Still looks a little bad in some light, but direct light it looks, I mean, okay. I can see glistening all throughout. That at least tells me that the trace is probably still there. I'll know pretty quickly once I get it together and try and initialize the camera. If it just completely fails out, then it's most likely that one of these traces are just compromised. I have quite a few extra camera units sitting around, so these things are a bit of a dime a dozen for me. So I wouldn't be too butthurt if this one had to be junked. but I can see the entire contact, so I'm fairly confident that'll be fine. Try and get that dried off a little better. All right. Okay. Ooh. Oh, okay. Yeah, those are like a reverse latch. Actually, I don't even think that is a reverse or whatever. It's a little... I've dealt with those connectors before, but there's none of those on these. .45 against the frame. Oh yeah, yeah, I see that. And as mean, those connectors incredibly difficult to connect without breaking anything else. Those ribbon cables usually slide into those connectors fairly nicely. It's when you get like the really big, like wide ribbon cables that can be a little more difficult to stick into the connectors. Because there's really no place to grab onto to actually sort of force it into the connector. And aside from just being generally fragile, ribbon cables are very susceptible to fatigue. Okay. Got everything installed. Top screen is now booting after cleaning off that ribbon cable. Whether or not the camera will survive, it probably will. Just looks a little gross. Alright, I needed to loosen up this screw so I can engage the left shoulder button. And it's the screw right here. There we go. Okay. We'll first start by taking this off. Oh yeah. Come on, baby. One peel. Almost. Hinge. Alright, so the first test is motherboard and power board. Turns on this time. These screens look really nice. I'm very pleased that they both survived. Like, I might pair these screens off and stick them in another console. Anyway, motherboard, power board. So what I'm looking for is, does the console turn on? Does it reach the main menu? Which I already knew it did because this is the aptly named Harlequin account that had card games and Mojang. So then I need to know, does it open up an application? which it does. It's running current version. I do want to start taking notes as well. Little pencil. So this was blue DSI XL. It's running version 145U, shell number WW416920299. It is US version 1.4.5U. I should have sniped the motherboard serial number while I was in there, but I'll have another chance to do that later. Next test is for the tactile buttons. For that, I'll be using my DS Pico. And the nice thing about the Pico is since it auto boots, I don't actually have to open the game. I just soft reset the console and it will automatically open it. I'll go into my button tester program, which is a piece of homebrew software. Okay, I see what they mean. So the volume buttons are just simply not working. I'll see if the left shoulder button is the same. Maybe that entire ribbon is just compromised. Oh, no, it's fine. I'm gonna have to figure out what's wrong with those buttons, because those face buttons usually don't go bad. This button's incredibly hard to press because of the deformed shell. I have to loosen it a little more. It's registering. I might need to set it aside just until I can get whatever's wrong with the volume buttons taken care of, even if I can, even. Test the other buttons. That up input was weirdly delayed there for a second. Okay, it seems to be fine. Oh, this R button also feels weird. Well, the right side of this also took an impact, so I'm guessing the shell is also a little deformed on the right-hand side as well. I'm just going to have to do those shoulder buttons later in another shell. Something a little more concrete than what I can determine. This rear shell just needs to be sanded down just a little bit, or filed down on those corners. Check the touchscreen. Ooh, nice OEM touchscreen. Looks good. I don't see any wild inputs, no dead zones that I can make out. Nothing significant. Okay. Let's go back to the DSI menu. Next is speaker, microphone, and headphone jack. Headphone jack and microphone port look really clean. I'm going to combo this with an SD card slot test. I have a piece of music loaded up on it. Oh. Hello, everybody. I don't want to listen to those because they're usually just a child screeching. Pretty much. La 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 la! Microphone works. Oh! I was able to get the volume up to register. I don't know if it's impact or if something maybe got in there. I wonder if I can get this L to come back. Or the minus. Oh, a little bit. I wonder if I gave them an alcohol bath if they would come back to life. For now, I'll just stick to a manual volume adjustment. So it recognizes my music. I was a little unprepared for this, but I'm going to check both channels of the speakers and then plug in my earbuds and check both channels there as well. Alright, all the channels worked. Next is cameras. Just do they register? Well, they booted, so that's a great start. Both camera units work. And display a clear enough image for a Nintendo DSi. Next is charge port. I already have my USB tester plugged in right on the side, so I'll plug it in. Ooh. Interesting, that took a second. Ah, okay, there it is. So, I'm jiggling around the charge cable a little. And it's cutting in and out. So, either this port is bad. It could mean I just need to bend these little contact prongs up a little. Be a little careful. We'll see if that changes anything. No, I think it might be solder joints. So it should stay a solid orange the entire time I sort of twirl it around. Which now it is. I think I'm just going to reflow those solder joints anyway. Because it's behaving very strangely. The port might just be even a little dirty. But... I'll have to look at it closer when I pull it apart. So last but not least is the game card slot. Just gonna try a few games and see how it behaves. Slot the game in normally and then just sort of fiddle with the game card as it's in the... I never actually checked the pins before I started jamming a game in there. I mean, would I have really missed a hamster game? No, probably not. Well, those pins look good. Okay, this game card's disappearing on me with very little... It might just need a cleaning. I'm wondering if just all these ports just need a cleaning. They all just had a little bit of surface corrosion on it. If the head of the screws or anything that go off of... I think everything that just has contact points just needs to be scrubbed. Anyway, because that motherboard was showing issues, I'll have to put it through some more testing before I can even think of selling it. A lot, or several of these parts will need to go through a little more rigorous testing, but for now I can set them aside for now. I'll put in my notes that this console needs greater tests. Trouble reading game cards. Trouble charging. Okay. So I'm not going to need this anymore. Toss that aside. I am somewhat curious about these volume buttons. So I will start by disassembling everything down here. Hand screw is just a touch rusty. So you know what? I'll start putting these all away. Stylus cover. Bottom shell. Maybe I can find out why these shoulder buttons feel so horrible in this shell. Ugh. Other than being sticky. Oh, gee whiz. Where'd that other piece go? It'll appear somewhere. This poor console, just adding insult to injury. Has something spilt on it. I don't know what it is. Ugh. Oh, here it is. I was gonna go ahead and wash those shoulder pieces. Hmm. Just rust? What is that? Oh no, that's not rust. That's the little foam pad. Okay. That was weird because it was like caked with something. I mean, these volume buttons look fine. Let me do some surgery on them. So the volume down is the lower one closer to me. I mean, from the outside it looks fine, but that's not exactly where... Doesn't matter really how it looks from the outside. I wonder if I can get this adhesive up. May have to baptize it a little. Huh, it looks just fine. Contacts are nice and shiny. There's no corrosion underneath that. That's odd. I wonder why it's having such problems. Is there any sort of broken trace? I've never seen those resistors go bad. It's just a piece of gunk. Huh. Very odd for it to be like that then. Check the volume up, see if that's any different. Oh, it's about the same. Odd. I'll test that later. Maybe all it needed was just a little bit of flush of rubbing alcohol. As far as this rear shell, get one of my files. I don't see anything too egregious, but I can just file down these corners just a touch. Okay. I'll also put that shoulder button aside as well, just so I can get it tested in a shell that won't pinch it really hard. Okay. Get the volume buttons out. Get these poor things in for cleaning. I'm gonna wipe down this lower part of the power board. Everything else looks fine. I didn't really have any problems anywhere. Odd. I need to look at this a little closer. I don't think I've ever seen whatever these are before. I don't know if it's like... What is that? That's part of the trace? Huh. That's interesting. Let me look at a comparison. What on earth? Can't say I've ever noticed that. It's like exposed trace. Intentionally, it looks like. It's mighty perplexing. Well, I'm not exactly interested in them being just that color. That is the case. Okay, they scraped off pretty easily. I actually hit it with my brush. That looks a little better. I'm happy with that. Weird. So I had no problem with this power board. I can get that sort of in my parts pile. No problem with this Wi-Fi board. Want to keep the both bottom and top screen together. They're a good pair. So I'll have to kind of separate them into their own little pile. Already having a console pair together, or a screen pair together, makes putting consoles together very easily. That's one of the hardest parts. Right there. I'll look at the charge port just a little. See if I can catch anything that's obvious. Joints look pretty good. But what you see is only half the story. Since I am thinking about it, I might just reflow it. I still have my solder iron on from the last project I did, kind of by mistake. Yeah, and it could just be this port is dirty. Almost looks like there's a little bit of corrosion or something in there. That could be all it is, but reflowing is rather benign. Actually, I might need my microscope. I'm just going to brush off the port real quick. Try to position this in a way that's not super in my way. Those joints look fine, but it never hurts just to make sure that they are actually fine. While I'm here, I'll also do the other two components that usually will sometimes cause problems if they have cracked solder joints. I did reflow it, but I do want to add a little more solder. Okay. I need this to be out of my way to do the fuse and the filter. There we go. I guess while I'm here dunking everything in alcohol, I'll get the game card slot cleaned. Yep, all those pins look really good. Now let me get a power board in, and I should be able to get a good feel on if that actually was what was wrong with that charge port. Either it was dirty or because one of those solder joints was probably cracked. Ooh, is it going to be one of these issues? I mean, it wouldn't really surprise me. So that charge light wasn't behaving like it should. No, it's got continuity. Maybe it's because that port is still a little rough. I mean... And they're pretty solid. There it goes, it's blinking. Okay. Okay, it seems to be working now. I don't know why there's like that weird hesitancy right at the beginning. But that seemed to have fixed it. At least from what I can tell in this sort of configuration. This board needs a lot more testing, so I'll do that later. I'll just make a note. Refload. Charge F1 EM1. Oh, motherboard serial number. 2750612 U01A24A negative A30. Alrighty, now the time finally take this thing apart and get all these parts situated, cleaned if needed be. Which rather doesn't matter if they need or don't need cleaning, I'm cleaning them anyway. Oh, come on now. There we go. Wi-Fi antenna. Microphone. I might work on that hinge a little more. Maybe see if giving it a little bit of a vinegar bath will help it. If it did have some corrosion in there. Ah, stuck to the lower shell, you dickhead. Get to the top. No use down there. Get that shell back with its other family members. Sweet. Let's look at this. It still doesn't look that bad. Oh god. Okay, cool. Yeah, that top shell, or the top screen ribbon cable looks a lot better than the bottom screen, or the camera, which I wanted to check the bottom screen ribbon cables. They all look fine. Perfect. These two are a pair. I'll keep them together. This feller, yeah, I might give him a little bit of a vinegar bath to see if that helps, and, not entirely sure what I want to do with this camera ribbon cable. It worked fine. Give it a little more elbow grease. I need to scrutinize maybe one trace line that looks a little sus. Could just be the lighting. That one right there. Looks like it would be fine. I just can't get this tarnish off of it. Taking in a pencil eraser to it will do anything. Not really. Yeah, I don't know what I want to do with that camera. It obviously works, it just looks a little worse for wear. I am kind of worried about its longevity. So I'll just have to see. But I think I got that console apart, so I think I'm going to call it there. That was a nice long disassembly for a somewhat basic console. Well, a basic fault in a DSi XL where the hinge broke, but thankfully all the parts seem to survive, save for a couple quirks here and there, but I mean, it's nothing too unexpected. Top screen worked, and that's a relief. Everything else is basically, I have tens, hundreds of even. I think for that I'll call it good.